This week I'm in Florida, more specifically Miami, and in the background you can hear the siren song of my people. I put a post down not too long ago saying where I was going to be and when, and I got a few invites to do some interesting things which I'm going to bring you guys all along for. I'm not really much of a vlogging type for a number of different reasons, and officially speaking I'm not even out here working. I'm out here on a holiday with my family, but well, look, someone invites you to a track day, you don't turn it down, so big. They do not have the same noise restrictions here that they do back home, evidently. So a big thank you to Andy, his brother Matt, and for the team at Chin Track Days for inviting me out here, because this looks like a fantastic track. This is the Homestead Miami Speedway. It's going to be an interesting day. Cool selection of machinery here. I can see an RX-8 down there, pretty cool air-cooled 911, shed loads of Corvettes, a few Vipers, the bloke in a McLaren 600 LT, nice orange one just in background there it should be. Loads of carbon on that car, so he's brave. And that looks like a Golf. Normal, ordinary Golf. Good man, go you. A bunch of MX-5s, very different makeup on the average US track day it would seem to what we get in the UK. No Renaults. No Renaults at all here today, which is nice to see. Very few BMWs actually as well. A lot of American, mostly German. Mostly kind of German and American. So yeah, I'm going to try and get some rides and some things. I have no idea what's going to happen, what's going to be in this video. It is going to be a bit of an unguided, rambling one, but I'm going to show you the interesting things that I find. Hopefully take for a couple of laps. We'll see what happens. I managed to get rides out in 2 cars in the end. Both very different, but both very special. The first was this, Matt's KTM Crossbow R, a special edition of the mad little Austrian. This one was apparently one of 10 cars made and cost around $160,000 when it was new. He loves it because in comparison to most other track cars, the KTM's low curb weight makes it very reasonable to run. The car has a carbon chassis designed by Dallara, who build the current IndyCar, and a very trick pushrod suspension. It's 350 horsepower, weighs around 800 kilos, has a sequential gearbox, and I'd like you to join me for a quick lap of the track. So I've just been out in this crazy machine, which belongs to Matt, awesome guy, very nice driver, very kind on me as well. He didn't go too fast or anything silly, which is nice, because actually track days in the US are an interesting thing. They run very differently to how they do in the UK. So they're very regimented, very ordered, very organized. You have to basically prove to each individual company that you are going to be safe on their track. So when you're first here, when you're new, you've got to go out with the instructors until they say you're safe enough to go out on your own. Very different, very alien concept, I know, for people watching in the UK. But it's a really cool track here, despite the fact that I know many people in Europe will look down upon American tracks. Actually, the course that they've got laid out here is quite good fun. I so desperately want to drive around the oval though. Well, that's not the track they're using today, and I'm not driving at all, I'm just passengering. As I was setting up in the morning, something pulled up next to the KTM which left my jaw on the floor. A stunning Porsche Carrera GT, my ultimate dream car. Feeling cheeky, I asked the owner if he would take me out in it, and he said yes. Here's what happened next. I was a little bit rushed, so apologies for the camera angles which aren't perfect, but I hope you enjoy at least a little bit as much as I did. A lot of people know about this car. It's a very special, very amazing car, and it belongs to an awesome chap called Scott, who's not the guy in the seat next to me. This is a lovely chap called Victor. He's Victor, and he's going to be chauffeuring me for the next couple of laps. Now, the Carrera GT has reminded me of something very important. A few years ago, I decided to change my life, change what I did, and pursue a career based almost entirely on cars. And I've always really been into cars, but there are a few particular vehicles that have always inspired me, have always fascinated me, and I've just had this continued lust for. And perhaps top of that list has always been, and might always be, this, the Carrera GT. It came from an interesting point in car history when we developed a lot technologically, but the fundamentals of the car were still very much analog. So you've got 5.7 litre naturally aspirated V10 with about 600 odd horsepower, famously the development of a stillborn LMP engine, and if rumours to be believed, possibly even a derivative of an F1 engine that never happened. 6-speed manual gearbox in the middle, and only one very talented right leg basically stopping you from kissing one of these walls around here. But all these lovely tech specs, all these sexy details that you see on this car, and every time I look at one of these, I do appreciate a few more things. For example, the carbon in at the front, the carbon floor you can see through the front. The fact there are little knacker ducts hidden at the back. Never noticed, never knew a Carrera GT had those until I looked at this one today. This is the first time I've been in a Carrera GT that's been in motion. I went out with Scott, the owner, to the shops in it earlier, and it's a wonderful thing. Actually rides really comfortably. The sound is gorgeous. This one is basically totally standard, certainly in the exhaust department. And it's an amazing thing, but it's full of amazing details. Can I put the spoiler up?
Yes.
Yes, I'm putting the spoiler up because
you can.
Because I can, and because I know that this car's owner spent an awful lot of money. It's little things out, like those spoiler legs, that pure carbon design, and the little things like the fact it's got a 996 mirror control over there. What's important about the Carrera GT to me is this kind of intangible thing. It's excitement. It's pure excitement on four wheels. I am so lucky and so fortunate that I get to, on a regular basis, interact with and drive an awful lot of extremely exotic, high-end, amazing, rare machinery. But there are still cars out there that can make me turn into a total fangirl, and this is one of them. And it's so important that that happens because it reminds me of how other people feel when I'm out there driving in nice and unusual cars. It reminds me that cars genuinely can make the world a better place. That a car like this can make somebody happy, really seriously, properly happy. The fact that Carrera GT can do this kind of thing make me feel so in awe, despite the fact that it's about 17 years old and I've spent a lifetime around very nice cars. Really is a testament not just to the power of this car, but to the power of cars in general. And now, as a little treat, we're going to take it for a couple of pretty gentle laps around this speedway.
There are certain cars, that Carrera GT being one of them, the F40.
Yep.
You know, certain cars that just draw people to them. You park them somewhere, and it's not just awe-bending for people that don't know about cars. It's all bending from people that do know about cars.
Yes.
You know, you can park a GT3 RS in a mall parking lot and 1,000 people will walk right by it. Because it kind of looks like any other 911 unless you know better. So that the enthusiast gets all dropped by. That attracts car guys. It attracts car guys. I'm going to pick on an old E36, the purple one.
Yeah.
A car guy knows that's a rare color and a rare car. 99 out of 100 people walk by it. This car guys know what it is, but people that don't know anything about cars just go, what's that?
Yeah.
I want to know more. So yes, cars have that power.
See, I truly believe that cars, so many people that are not into cars think of them as something that's really antisocial. But I think if they're done right, cars are the most sociable thing. Like I see so many car groups doing, charity stuff, all those kind of things. Right. It brings people together. It's why I'm here.
It absolutely does.
Okay, so now we're out on the move Oh, the lovely Miami International Speedway. Now, as you can probably tell, there are a couple of different layouts, as mentioned earlier. You've got the oval course flanking us over there, and it's some fairly steep banking, which is pretty typical for an oval type course. And when I went out in the KTM this morning, there's a few corners that I really loved and a few corners I really didn't. And the KTM I really didn't like. This one in particular, it's actually quite a cool corner because it's got a fairly serious elevation change, and the camber really works for you here. So if you get hooked into there, you can have a lot of fun. I didn't like it for the simple reason that the KTM seats aren't really seats at all. They're just a piece of the body shell that's cut out, and so as the car was on slicks, it's pulling a reasonable amount of G through that corner, and it was digging right into my side. You got a little straight down here, or a straightaway as the guys over here prefer to call them, which then hooks right, gets straight back down there before you then hook again, and you actually use a little part of the outer track before you wind up at my favourite corner, which we'll get to in a little bit. Now, the Carrera GT have been out in earlier, like I said, to the shops. One thing about it, so we're just running over the rumble strips here, actually really comfortable car, amazingly comfortable. But what you can also tell, again, there's only a limited amount I can tell from this seat in the car. I'd love to be in that one, but there are very few cars for which I will settle for a passenger ride in, and this is definitely one of them. You can really hear that flywheel is basically air. There's nothing there. The moment that clutch is dipped in, the rev's just straight down. Also a very low car with no front lift on it whatsoever. So we took the car to the shops, which is just a bizarre thing to do. I mean, my life is full of crazy, wonderful things, and popping down to the shops to grab a sub in Miami in a Carrera GT is just the strange sort of stuff that happens to me these days. And the ramp to get into the local shopping mall was pretty vicious. So that was that was an interesting experience, and I'm glad that I wasn't doing that. But the car rides so ridiculously well. You got crazy complicated suspension, push rod suspension, I believe, certainly at the rear, possibly at the front as well. The front doesn't really have that much space. If you want to watch a decent, proper, in-depth video on the Carrera GT, go watch Harry Metcalf's review of it. This one is my favourite corner because you get some decent speed there, and you then hook right in. But it is a corner that can be gotten wrong.
The tire tracks.
Yeah. So, and it's one of these corners because basically you carry too much speed, the rear end can break loose, but you'll then try and save it, or you get traction and you will be spat straight into the tyre wall in there, which will hurt, and it's fairly common. Then you get a little flick, and something I love is you then sort of come out here and you bump basically up onto the banking, and even though the banking's starting to level out here, it's still a fairly serious change. I mean, you can see this is me actually trying to be straight up here, so even a straight on a NASCAR track is not flat, it's not level. So Daytona, which I've been at, if you're trying to walk from basically infield out, which you can do, it's hell of a steep, really seriously steep. I mean, really, ordinarily I would be worried that I wouldn't be able to sort of top this for the rest of the journey, and although I won't be able to top it in terms of amazingness of car, there is some cool content coming from this week. I didn't intend really to vlog anything, but a few little things just fell into place that I do insist are worth sticking around for. However, for now, I'm just having the time of my life, enjoying an absolutely wonderful once-in-a-lifetime experience. And so, if you made it this far, I would love you guys to share what car does to you what this does to me. What is the car, the one? Because there are more expensive cars than this, there are faster cars than this, there are more advanced cars than this, and yet somehow, throughout time, nothing to me has quite come close to this perfect symphony of speed, beauty, sound, and mechanical interaction that the Carrera GT has, that to me represents just the best of what a car can and should be. So let me know what you guys think that is for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment below, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you for the next one, and if you happen to be in the USA, try a Chin track day, because they're quite nice people.